Tonight on the Black Channel, the white media is trying to change the conversation. Unfortunately for them, the black media is already here. The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the everlasting superfortress of intelligent black thought. We are the black media, and this is the Black Channel. And I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the voice of Black America, the Black Authority, broadcasting to you live from the only historically black college university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program here, a lot we want to go ahead and cover here, and we are going to be in depth about it as always here. You know, a whole lot can change in a week, but then again, a whole lot can change when it is intended to do so. A whole lot can change when it is intended to do so. And there has been a lot that's been going on, and as usual, we are witnessing as the media is attempting to take a situation where black people should be solely the focus, where our interest should be solely the focus, and steer it in another direction. Not at all to minimize events, but attempting to steer it in another direction. But we are here to put the focus squarely back where it needs to be and where it has to be. Because I've heard some things and seen some things. I've heard some things and seen some things. And what I want to do here is go ahead and review some of that with you here right now. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go over a little bit of something here. Want to go over a little bit of something. So we can take a look at that. So we can take a look at exactly what it is that I've seen here. And I was going over some of the pages here for the white media outlets. I wanted to start here on CNN. And you go to their YouTube page. Go take a look back here a little over a week ago here, and you can see where 2 weeks ago they show that about the Buffalo mass shooting, the admitted white supremacist. And when you go there, well, in reality, you go there and you see about 3 or so videos. What they show there. And then we talk about Uvalde, Texas, when you get there, and I counted 41 videos. 41. Is it possible they took some down? Sure. I don't think they took down 41 videos about Buffalo, though. I don't think they did that. I don't think that happened. And I want you to understand that that's something to keep in mind. That's something to keep in mind. Steering attention. When you put that type of laser focus on something, that's the kind of thing you want to keep in mind when that occurs. So I went ahead, and by the way, make sure you all click the like button and share this, because the black media is going to give you the insight you're not going to receive anywhere else. You go over there to MSNBC. And, well, they had a few words to say about that. They sure did. On MSNBC's page, I counted 39 videos about the Buffalo mass shooting. I counted 39. Then you go over and you take a look at the Uvalde mass shooting there, and Well, I will simply say it has been wall-to-wall coverage every day, every hour since. Not even close. Not even close. It'd be nice if we had some black folk who worked at some of these places there, wouldn't it be? It would be nice if we had some of them there. It would be nice if we had some of them there. It would be nice if we did. Oh, well, allegedly, we kinda, sorta, maybe do. Joy Reid wanted to weigh in here. There was something in particular that she said, and I'll just let you listen for yourselves. So, like I said, I've been monitoring these things, and I'll just let you listen for yourselves to what she said when she had a panel of people on to talk about the Uvalde shooting at Robb Elementary. I want you to listen to what she had to say.
Times and Michael Steele, former RNC chairman. Thank you all for being here. Welcome, Mr. Hickson-Baugh, to the show. I want to ask you about the NRA and the vibe inside of that convention and how they managed to celebrate guns at a time when not far away, parents are preparing to bury little 10-year-old children.
So first and foremost, they're taking a look at how they can do things. This is a discussion that wasn't taking place anywhere else, wasn't happening anywhere else. So the first thing that they're doing there is, well, how do we take action on that? They start picking and choosing targets. I found that to be very interesting. Their first reaction is, how do we go ahead and pick targets from it? How they pick targets. Then, after the gentleman finished speaking, she made some more comments, which I found to be more intriguing.
35, 40 minutes.
Did anyone inside of that convention who spoke to you, did they even express any emotion about, I've been crying for 3 days, by the way, so don't feel bad about feeling emotional. Did they express, was there any emotion in there for these?
Let me go ahead and replay that one there one more time for you.
40 minutes.
Did anyone inside of that convention who spoke to you, did they even express any emotion about, I've been crying for 3 days, by the way, so don't feel bad about feeling emotional. Did they express, was there any emotion in there?
By my math, the shooting in Buffalo was more than 3 days ago. By my math, the shooting in Buffalo was more than 3 days ago. So that was the first thing that stuck out at me. You have to watch these folks from immigrant backgrounds and things like that, but you're also going to have to watch your bootlicks in the media. And especially if there's a convergence of that, it kind of shows why they keep choosing that. Well, I want you to just pay attention to that for a few moments. I don't know if anybody else is going to put it in that spotlight, but by the way, while I was reviewing these things, yeah, that jumped out at me there. You think we're going to get a fair hearing? You think if we leave it up to them that our issues are actually going to get dealt with, you think that's going to occur? Do you think that's going to happen? If we leave it up to them. If we leave it up to them. So by the way, a bit of audio that I know most of you have not heard, but by the way, yeah, that one, I got that one out there. Yeah, I'm talking about, you take a look at that mop on top of her head and the purple lipstick. She looks like she's auditioning to be the next Ronald McDonald or something. But when you start saying things like this, it's not very funny. So I don't know if she's trying to be humorous, but it's not very funny when I hear things like that. However, just in case you hadn't heard enough, in Buffalo here, I think they were burying the last of the victims of the white supremacist who shot up the Tops grocery store. No less than Kamala Harris is there, and boy, man, I gotta tell you, she and Reverend Al were there, and they are the gift that keeps on giving. I was just gonna play a clip from it. Originally, I was just gonna play a clip from it, but I decided that that was not gonna be sufficient. I decided you needed to hear the whole thing. Because you're not going to hear this anywhere else. So I want you to hear their remarks. I want to hear their remarks here at the funeral of Ruth Whitfield in Buffalo. I want you to hear their remarks. Reverend Al's taking the podium.
And as we get to acknowledgments, we're blessed to have many of our dignitaries, our mayor of Buffalo, the mayor of New York, who he and I kind of grew up together. He's here, Attorney General of the state, U.S. Senator, and many, many people.
Think about that for a few moments. The mayor of New York, black man. The Attorney General of New York State, black female. I want you to think about that for a few moments. You would figure under these circumstances that we'd be the most protected class out there. You would think that for a moment. You would have no idea that we are the least protected and most vulnerable. You would have no idea under these circumstances, but there you are.
All of the elected officials, please stand.
Yes, please stand so that we can see you all clearly. We want to see everybody who hasn't done a damn thing. So thank you You see Letitia Adams? Did you see her wave down here in the lower right corner?
Yes,
with her big, awkward, lurch-built self?
And many, many people. All of the
Take a look down there in the lower right-hand corner. She's on the second row, second from the right. There she is standing up. Here she turns around, make sure folks can see her big, awkward self.
All of those.
They got Kamala over there by herself.
That want to be elected, just raise your hand and pray. All right. And many, many people. All of the elected officials, please stand. All of those that want to be elected, just raise your hand and pray. All right.
Really? Okay, a moment of levity there.
To this family that we come to stand with today. 2 weeks ago when the attorney...
No, I mean, that did stick out to me there, but I don't want to slow the program down too much. By the way, I'm letting you know, by the way, they're cracking jokes and things, but all right.
Ben Crump called me a few weeks ago. All of those that want to be elected, just raise your hand and pray. All right. To this family that we come to stand with today. 2 weeks ago when Attorney Ben Crump called me about what had happened here in Buffalo. And we began organizing and began talking to Garnell and others and other families. And it became clear that this white supremacist, 18 years old, had been, he said, radicalized on social media. He's not the only racist in America. And he's not the only one that has done things. What bothered me more than anything was that my mother comes from Alabama. And in her day, they would kill us, the Klan would come and put hoods on. This young man live streamed him doing it. They don't even, Bishop, put hoods on no more. They are proud to practice racism.
And who emboldened them to be able to do that, sir? Just out of curiosity, who has made them feel so emboldened that they could do this? Since you've watched this evolutionary change, you see the old heads from the civil rights generation, they've left the young out here to their fate. And folk need to be aware of that.
And I thought about that night, Bishop, how it was in Charleston at Mother AME, but then it went to a synagogue in Pittsburgh and a synagogue in San Diego, and then Asians and Atlanta and Latinos in El Paso. There is an epidemic of racial violence that is accommodated by gun laws.
All right, so first he wraps everybody else up in it. First he wraps everyone else in it. First he gathers everybody else into it. All lives matter. And then he tells you about guns. Not that we need to target white supremacy. We need to target the guns. Not discussing white supremacy.
That allow people to kill us. You ain't got to love us. Dated by gun law. Epidemic of racial violence that is accommodated by gun laws that allow people to kill us. You ain't got to love us, but you shouldn't have the easy access to military weapons to kill us. The thing is, since they're coming after all of us together, we have to at least have enough sense to come together and fight back.
Since they're coming after all of us together, have you all shared this program tonight? How many of you heard that these were the remarks being made by Reverend Al in front of Kamala Harris and the rest of these people? How many of you heard that these were the remarks being made? Let me know if any of the old dead black media gets around to saying this. By the way, did you hear what he just said there? We all need to come together. That minority coalition, we need to come together.
All of us together. We have to at least have enough sense to come together and fight back. One of the things that occurs to me is that very little has been said to show the difference between us. Is that 10 people Saturday before last killed for shopping, groceries. 86-year-old grandmother, all the way down to a young person, killed at the only grocery store. Wait a minute, bro. I don't do duets. I do solos.
All right, now I got to do my thing here.
I was raised by James Brown, not Sam and Dave. It's going to be a solo.
Let me tell you something about these old niggas. Jason, are you going there with it? Yeah, I am. You see, the young folk don't sit up here and show out like that. And the ones who do, if you all want to know where the clowns who sit up here and jump around with their Michael Jackson jackets on, twerking on police cars, if you want to know where that crop of weirdos and clowns comes from, with those emotional misfits who raised them, if you want to know where that comes from, this is where it comes from. They got somebody in their damn family going to church and everything like that, and everything becomes a performance. The cameras are on, the microphones are going. They don't give a damn about looking silly just so long as they can be seen. And they've taught the children that it doesn't matter whether you look intelligent or whether you look like a slap damn fool, so long as you can be seen. Be smart, be mediocre, be dumb as hell, be outlandish. You can be seen. Understand something, when Dr. King got behind the pulpit and grabbed the microphone, he was organizing his people in a war council. You didn't see this kind of acting out there because they were on a war footing. When Malcolm X got behind the pulpit and grabbed the microphone, you didn't see this kind of acting out. They were on a war footing. They were dead ass serious when they walked up in there. So just understand, team reflects leadership. And if the leadership is there to bull jive around and perform, don't be surprised when somebody else wants to come and outperform you. Don't be surprised if it becomes showtime at the Apollo and somebody wants to outperform you. So you shouldn't be surprised to see that. Shocked and appalled, ashamed, shouldn't be surprised.
The thing that has been overlooked is that even with the viciousness of the attack and killing, not one window was broke, not one looting street. Buffalo stood with peace and love in the face of that killing.
This is the old generation there. This is the old generation. Buffalo stood with peace and love. Not one window broken, not one match lit. Buffalo stood in peace and love. You see, when it's black people, they come and tell you, all right, now don't get rowdy now. Don't y'all get buck around here. We here to congratulate you here, y'all. Y'all keeping it down, y'all keeping it down. You're taking your killings in stride. Black people usually do that. Let me tell you something right now. If black people were really rowdy like that, this country would be on fire 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The immigrants getting off the boats and whatnot to be like, oh hell, I didn't know it was the flaming inferno around here. I thought it was the land of opportunity, not the land of sticks and matches. If black folk were really did what they were justifiably able to do. But I just want you to see this old generation. What they're really saying is, wow, the young folks didn't rise up because these old bastards ain't going to do anything. Damn, Jason, are you going there? I sure am. Yes, I am.
Buffalo stood with peace and love.
And what do you have to show for it? Okay, what did that gain you? Stood with peace and love. Okay, and what's your reward? What do you get for that? They shot at you just the same. I want you to understand that. They shooting at you just the same. They're shooting at you just the same. At least when you got out there in the streets, they backed down for a few weeks. At least when you got out there in the streets, that put them in their place for a little while.
We could even get the burials and funeral services over. 19 people killed in Texas. Others wounded. No violence there. So it's clear who believes in the violence and who believes in peace. It's clear who believes in tearing this country down, and it's clear who's got to take the mantle to build this country up.
But we've known that since 1702. I mean, this is not news. This is not news. But notice the effort here to tie everybody together. Let's be very, very clear. Notice the effort here to tie everybody together. The shooter in Uvalde, you can't claim that there's no real evidence that he's a white supremacist. You can't really compare what happened in Buffalo to what happened in Uvalde. What happened in Uvalde was a tragedy, to be certain. But you can't compare the motivations there. You can't compare those two. These were two totally separate instances of two totally separate causes. And yet, here you see him piggybacking something else off of black people's clearly defined legitimate oppression. So I wanted to make sure you understood that while I did an examination of Uvalde last night, I want you to also be very, very clear. There's no real connection between that and Buffalo. There's no connection between that ideologically, socially. There's no clear distinction. There's a clear distinction between those two. And yet, for political purposes, when the political folks show up, they take the people who have a legitimate long-standing grievance, wrap it up in something else, and then say, okay, everybody sit down. We need love, peace, and happiness. You can't say that Salvador Ramos was radicalized online. You can't say that Salvador Ramos was a frequent visitor to 4chan and 8chan and Reddit and all the usual hotspots that cultivate white supremacists on the internet. You can't say that about him. You can't say that at all. You can't say he was racially targeting. You can't make that statement at all. Whatever could be done to prevent Salvador Ramos would not be the same as what could be done to prevent Peyton Gendron. Monitoring 4chan and 8chan and taking action the way you do with black folks, yeah, that could have helped stop Buffalo. You can't say the same thing about Uvalde. That would require something else. That would require something else. But I do know what could have prevented Buffalo. I do know that one.
And before we could even get the burials and funeral services over, 19 people killed in Texas, others wounded, no violence there. So it's clear who believes in the violence and who believes in peace. It's clear who believes in tearing this country down, and it's clear who's got to take the mantle to build this country up. Now, Bishop, y'all know I do not know too much about protocol. Eric Adams and Tish James, I come out of Brooklyn. I've never been known for following protocol. But I thought about if there ever was a time between Texas and Buffalo and Texas, that we need to come together, all communities, and say that we may not agree on everything, but we have got to stop the hate and the violence, and we have got to disarm. We have got to disarm the haters and stand together. And as I thought about,
we've got to disarm the haters and stand together. Well, I certainly agree with that. We should disarm the haters and stand together. Haven't heard anybody say exactly what that entails, because as I explained to you all last night, if you're planning on taking everybody's guns, well, you're going to have to mass incarcerate white society because they're not going for it. So exactly how do you plan on disarming the haters. How exactly do you plan on doing that?
About it, I said to the family, I said that, you know, the vice president is coming. We talked the other day at the White House, and Tony Crump and all of us, and I played dirty. I got in front of the president and repeated that she ought to come, and she said, no, I really wanted to come. I was overseas. I said, but you can still come. And she said, let me think about it. Let me work it out. She said, well, I'm going to come. I said, the symbol you are.
Did you catch that? Even though Al had to say that, by the way, Kamala was talking about, I don't know if I can show up. I got some things going on overseas. Why don't you just tell the same? Why don't you just say exactly what it is? Damn you niggas. I would have respected it more if she just said what she meant. Damn you niggas. You didn't vote for me. I don't give a damn what's going on. I didn't care for you before you knocked me out of the presidency. I don't give a rat's ass what happens to you. If I could park a Peyton Gendron in front of every Popeye's chicken in America, I'd do it. So, like I say, you're not going to get the truth there. You're not going to get the truth there from her. So, all right. But by the way, he put her on Front Street. Well, I have to think about it. Okay.
I have two daughters. He said, well, I'm going to come. I said, the symbol you are. I have two daughters. And the symbol that you are, that black women, Asian women can see, the first woman vice president of the United States.
Look at them smile. Look at them all in there. You take a look at that congregation clapping and cheering. Listen to them clapping and cheering. You had a black church and listen to them clapping and cheering. The symbol that you are to black and Asian women everywhere. If you want to know what's wrong with the old niggas, this instance, this moment right here encapsulates everything wrong with them in one scene. If you want to know the problem that I have with them, this encapsulates it in one instance right there. This right here does it better than anything else I could ever say. You have a whole bunch of folk here who wish they could have been or could have some mixed babies. And they are completely divested, if you will, and divorced from the issues of black people altogether, even if they black themselves. Can I just fantasize I'm something else? This is the old generation. If you want to know where that kicked off from and who started that, these are the ones who did it, holding court.
To know after all of we're going through, the hope we can give them is look at you. We can make
Pepto-Bismol on deck. Did you hear that line? Did you hear that line? Oh, you thought it was as bad as it could be.
We're going through. The hope we can give them is look at you.
The hope we can give them is to look at Kamala Harris. That's the hope that we can give. That we can give people. Oh, y'all, I'm sorry. I gotta take a break. I just do. I got to take a Pepto-Bismol break because I held out as long as I could. That right there did it for me. I don't see how I could hold on any longer. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, so yeah, I needed me a moment there. People, can I just be honest with you right now? These old niggas been waiting to lay up with these old shriveled up, week-old bread chicks. He's remembering Kamala Harris back from her bad to the bone days when Montel Williams and Willie Brown and everybody else was taking their turn. He remembers that. And you can see their faces. These old niggas ain't never forgot. They've never forgotten. Nobody sees Kamala Harris that way, but these old dudes, this is why we got to sweep them to the side and move them the hell out the way. They're focused on every damn thing else. The only thing he ain't said is that she liked to get her hair pulled back in the day. That's the only thing he isn't saying there. All this damn unjustified ass kissing. This woman doesn't deserve that. She didn't do anything to get that. You got these oldie moldy broads out here and whatnot, and these old niggas done creep their way up on the stage with their canes and their Metamucil, sitting up here talking a bunch of garbage here that we ain't feeling. The symbol she is. Can't find a place in America where you can get that celebrated exhibit. A hand-picked group of folks sitting in an audience that you have custom curated. Everybody has to be signed and vetted. Everyone has to be filtered and vetted. She doesn't carry any weight on the streets. But these old niggas been waiting decades, so they're just letting you know, yeah, they used to run through them back in the day. Now that he's too old to get anything popping like that, it's like, are you trying to take us down memory lane? We're talking about survival and you're talking crazy.
To know after all of we're going through, the hope we can give them is look at you. We can make it anyhow. And then I told her the things that they have fought for since they've been there, against a Senate that will fight for democracy in Ukraine but won't fight for it in Georgia. And they right to fight for it in Ukraine, but we need to get them right about Georgia. But they've gone...
Yeah, so we can go vote for Stacey Abrams, of course, who won't claim black folk or do anything for black people, has all the excuses in the world to do nothing for black folks. So, yeah, we need to help Stacey Abrams in Georgia so she can do nothing for us here. Somebody tell me what's the difference between Stacey Abrams and Brian Kemp. What's the substantive difference?
Up against the rough side of the mountain and fought for you to be there. She finally called. She says, I think I'm coming. I said, well, it would be great if you came to Ruth Whitfield, an 86-year-old woman, to let her go on the glory saying that the first woman, first black Asian woman, came to close out these 10 families.
Okay, now I got another issue here. You notice how he keeps going out of his way to say black and Asian. Did you notice that? He keeps going out of his way to say that. As if the town of Buffalo is some mixed black Asian enclave. He keeps going out of his way to point out black and Asian, black and Asian, black Asian, black and... He keeps doing that. What the hell are you trying to prove here, man? What brownie points do you think you're winning? Who is he trying to pander to? You're at the funeral of a woman who was killed by a white supremacist who sat there and talked about how great Asians were. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to remind you about that. I'm not supposed to remind you about that. By the way, in his own manifesto, let me not show that too long because they'll be done ding me here, but he talked about how great Asians were. That's why he went to go shoot up a store full of black folk, even though he claimed he had an issue with immigrants. And he's like, yeah, let me go find some black folk, though. You're at the funeral of a woman who was killed because she was black. by a white supremacist who was big up in Asians. And here comes Reverend Al, who keeps sitting up here repeating, she black and Asian. Black and Asian, it sounds like this old nigga is color struck. Boy, I'm going to say it right now. She must have been working that thing back in the day, wasn't she? To have these old niggas this sprung this much time later, she was letting them know, oh, you can get a real... This was the first exotic chick that these old niggas actually had sexual access to back in the day, and they're still sprung. So if you all wonder why it is that I told you all that the problem with the civil rights generation... The problem with the civil rights generation is that they keep talking about justice, but what they really wanted was interracial sexual access. And the fact that at this funeral, he keeps invoking that in this really weird, odd, awkward, out of place situation, he keeps doing that. He's telling you what it is about her that really appealed to him. So this just lets you know, back in the day, old girl was just working it on these old niggas. This was the first exotic chick who did nothing for him. That's why you gotta watch out for these politicians now. You gotta watch out for them now precisely because of this kind of off-code behavior. If you want to know why they get elevated in the Democratic parties, in these political circles, and these corporate networks, it's because they know. They know. They know. And the young people are being fed a damn lie. Y'all ain't able to see what the hell she was doing back in the day unless you go look up some videos because they are out there. You go see what she was doing back in the day, and these old niggas is hanging on for dear damn life. They're hanging on for dear ass life. You and I are sitting here talking about survival, and they're talking about the little mixed broad that they used to lay up with 4 damn decades ago. And you get murdered out here in the damn streets.
She says, well, I'm coming, but I don't want to say anything. This woman, to let her go on the glory saying that the first woman, first black Asian woman, came to close out these 10 families. And she says, well, I'm coming, but I don't want to say anything because I don't want it to appear political. I just want to sit through the service. And that, I've known her since she ran for Attorney General. But she said,
I'm sure you knew her before that, Al, but we'll just keep it pushing.
That she just wanted to come and sit through the service. Isn't that wonderful?
Boy, if he had his lips wrapped around her butt cheeks anymore.
But I'm going to break protocol. I think that we should insist that we hear from the Vice President of the United States of America.
Why?
The Honorable Kamala Harris.
Okay, I don't know why we need to hear from her, and I damn sure don't know why you called her honorable. You don't want to go down that sexual rap sheet. Nothing honorable there, but all right.
I'm not going to say anything about Reverend Sharpton right now.
Why not? Go ahead and spill the beans on why he's so fancy on you in front of your husband, by the way. Go ahead and spill the beans on that. Go ahead, man. You might as well let it go now. No reason to hold back.
Good afternoon, church. To the Whitfield family, the father of the Whitfield family, Mr. Whitfield.
Boy, she sounds so Karen. She sounds so Karen, Karen, not Caring.
The pain that this family is feeling right now, and the 9 other families here in Buffalo, I cannot even begin to express our collective pain as a nation for what you are feeling in such an extreme way. To not only lose someone that you love, but through an act of extreme violence and hate. And I do believe that our nation right now is experiencing an epidemic of hate. And as we know and Scripture teaches us, when we talk about...
As we know and as Scripture teaches us, ain't she like a Buddhist or something? Ain't she a Brahmin? Okay, she's channeling that Barack Obama thing. I can be whatever y'all want, whatever I am. I do bar mitzvahs and every damn thing. Okay. All right. Never mind.
Strength. The strength of personality. Strength. An epidemic of hate. And as we know and Scripture teaches us, when we talk about strength, the strength of personality, the strength of spirit, the strength of faith, I think we all know that a true measure of strength is not based on who you beat down, it's based on who you lift up. Who you lift up. And it means then also in that strength, understanding we will not allow small people to create fear in our communities, that we will not be afraid to stand up for what is right, to speak truth even when it may be difficult to hear and speak. There's a through line. What happened here in Buffalo, in Texas, in Atlanta, in Orlando?
Okay, now did you hear that? There's a through line between what happened here in Buffalo and Uvalde and Atlanta and in Orlando. So for those of you who may have forgotten or don't remember or don't know what she's talking about there, what she's talking about is, okay, you remember in Buffalo, there was a bunch of black folk killed by a white supremacist. In Uvalde, it was at this point, very disturbed 18-year-old who had a bunch of home issues and shot up a school full of other Latinos, a bunch of little children and a couple of adults. And then in Atlanta, it was an Asian, what was that, like a nail salon, spa, massage parlor, whatever they were doing there. I want to say it was like a massage place. At best, some incel ran up in there. And then in Orlando, it was some guy who, some rumors are like he was LGBT, others were he wasn't. Still not very clear what was going on there, but they're talking about like the Pulse nightclub in Orlando. So the only through line here is, well, they were mass shootings, and that's the only real similarity going on there. Really, to be honest, once again, you can't compare any of those incidents to what happened in Buffalo, and yet they're trying to steer the attention in a whole different direction. And it was this part of her speech that made me want to play this whole thing for you all. I was just going to play this clip in particular that you just heard. I was going to play just that, but then I was like, wait a minute, there's other stuff in here. Let me just go ahead and play this whole thing so you all can hear it in its entirety. Because originally I was just going to play that clip you just heard about. There's a through line between all these incidents. But when you hear the whole thing in its entirety, you realize, oh hell, yeah, this is a full court press to change the subject.
What happened at the synagogues. And so this is a moment that requires all good people, all God-loving people, to stand up and say, we will not stand for this. Enough is enough. We will come together based on what we all know we have in common, and we will not let those people who are motivated by hate separate us or make us feel fear. So I'm here to say that we are all in this together. No one should ever be made to fight alone. We are stronger than those who would try to hurt us think that we are. We are strong. We are strong in our faith. We are strong in our belief about what is right and our determination to act, to ensure that we protect all those who deserve to be protected, that we see all those who deserve to be seen, that we hear the voices of the people, and that we rise up in solidarity to speak out against this and to speak to our better angels. Thank you.
Oh, she made those remarks real quick. What is Al doing here? Al, are you reaching for where you reaching for, Al? Al, I'm pretty sure she made it up the stairs on her own. I'm pretty sure she made it down the stairs by herself, sir. All right, I guess you wanted to feel the mixed skin just one last time. All right. So in any case here, I want you to hear her comments in their entirety. I want you to hear them in their entirety. And then I want you to juxtaposition that against what you heard from Joy Reid. I want you to go ahead and hear that. And then you put that in context of the short shrift that's been given and whatnot. For those of you who thought we had taken our eye off of the ball, you got fooled now, didn't you? Just because you were dumb doesn't mean the rest of us are. We are totally on top of this kind of thing. And I did this tonight because I wanted you to understand that they do these things for a reason. They do it deliberately and they do it for a reason. And they do it because up until this point, the old black media was in their pocket and nobody was listening. They had the old black media to run interference for them. They had the old black media to sit up here and tell everybody, hey, our version of the story, this is it. They would overlook these things. Now you've got a new apparatus that actually takes a look at what's happening here and can go over it minute by minute. And there's a whole different story going on now, isn't there? Whole different story happening now. So I wanted to bring you the insight and analysis into this and how the media is steering the attention, making the full court press. This is our chance to make it very clear that we are not taking our eye off of the ball. We are not going to do that at all. So just make sure that you stick with us here. What we're going to do is we are going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break here. And when we come back, we are going to take some of your phone calls here. Before I do, I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal or Cash App. So thank you, Miss Cordelia, Mr. Dinkins, Sydney, Andrew L., Miss Abdullah, and everybody else who's contributed to support the program here tonight. We are doing the job of the black media. Make sure you hit that like button and make sure you share the program. They're going to try to suppress us tonight. So make sure that you're doing your part to fight back against that. When we come back, your phone calls and more. This is The Black Channel.
Hey, I'm Marcus. For a while, I walked around with this empty feeling inside. I had a full-time job, but not in the field I wanted to be in. But then I came across this book where it was like, the title was just for me. Guide to Being Black in IT. I read the book and the author took me through scenarios and gave me tips. I sat down and read it and it only took an hour. After I got done, I took advice in the book, practiced in the labs, and got certified. Then I literally got up and applied for a position with this company I've been looking at for a while and got the job. Thanks to that book, I worked my job with confidence. If you're looking to get into IT or even in the field, now this is a must-read book. Go to www.beingblackinit.com.
I am black first. I am empowered. I am on code. I am motivated. I am a proud foundational. My name is Maria Sellers, and nothing will come between us. Buy the sci-fi novel, Nothing Will Come Between Us. Order today at Amazon and Google Play. Visit spiritof1811publishing.com. Our story, our family.
Join sixzeros.net, a forum built to discuss all things relevant to Black people. On our forum, a check doesn't mean you're famous. It means your Blackness has been verified by our staff. Sorry, Chad. We also have premium merchandise with same-day shipping on most orders. And when you're ready for some dope content, check out the 0 Hour blog. Don't just sign up, post. I'm having a really good time with you tonight.
I'm having a good time with you too.
Want to go somewhere private? Just for us?
I like that.
Great. Meet me at sixzeros.net. Black owned, Black operated.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slaveries and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
When you need a reliable influx of capital to grow your business, Spectre Capital Finance provides fast, individualized working capital loans with lines of credit to take your business to the next level. SpectreCapitalFinance.com.
This is The Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening as we are discussing how the media wants to steer attention. And we have brought you some of that here now. But before we get too far along here, I want to just go ahead and open up the telephone lines. So the phone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth today. So you are, of course, welcome to join us. And if you have been instructed by my mods to call in, that is not a request. That is a command. Now, this is really pertinent for us in our efforts because when they talk to other people, they talk about action. They talk about what's going to be done. They talk about legislation. They talk about getting down to it. They don't even show up. It doesn't take a funeral. It doesn't take a eulogy. It doesn't take any of that. It doesn't take any of that. They don't need any of those perks. They just show up on deck and that's what they get. They just show up on deck and that is what they get. But for us, when they show up, it's all about, well, there's prayers and mercy and we're good and merciful and we're not going to let small people drag us down. Remember Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high. When they show up in front of black folk, it's that. That's what it is when they show up in front of us. It's empty, mindless, brain-dead slogans, but when they show up in front of everybody else, it's something different. That's what we end up with. So I wanted to talk about that tonight because I wanted you all to be aware. They're trying to steer the attention in a different direction. Unfortunately for them, we're not having it. But the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Let me get caller from area code 954. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Turn off your speakers.
Hello?
Okay, turn off your CPAP machine.
I'm not on speaker. I'm on a landline, sir.
Okay. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Tina. I'm calling from Fort Lauderdale.
Okay. Tina from Fort Lauderdale. And what was on your mind, Tina?
Well, to be honest with you, sir, I just got home and I seen that you were broadcasting live, and I seen a topic where they're trying to stir. The media is trying to stir the attention. Can you? Because what I wrote in the comment box was that it goes deeper than that. You know what I mean? It's just. I like you. I listen to you a lot. You and Professor Truth. But it just goes a lot deeper. You know what I mean? And
no, I don't know. I don't know what you mean. What are you referring to? We have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so your mods threatened to block me. So let me take a look here. And it says something about the media is trying to stir the attention from the situation that happened at the supermarket or the one that happened at the school.
Okay, so let me get this straight. You jumped into our chat room out of nowhere. Nobody knows you. You start talking about the host. I like the host, but he's not taking it deep enough. And you don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
So is that how you talk to your audience?
No, that's how I talk to buffoons who are looking for attention, think they're going to street perform. So yeah, that's what happens.
Buffoon, sir. I actually like you.
Ma'am, okay, here's my suggestion to you.
Awesome.
Ma'am, here's my suggestion to you.
Go ahead, sir.
Get back on your meds, get a proper diet, drink more water and less soda, and stay off the phone. And out of my chat room. That's my suggestion to you. Maybe you can get that weight down from that plump size 24 where you're sitting up here breathing and struggling to breathe on my phone. Maybe you can get that down to a more svelte size 16. I figure if you can get it down that far, you'll do better. Damn, the host is rough. She comes in the chat room talking about, he didn't take it deep enough. Ma'am, I took it deep all the way down. You can't get any further. That's why when she got on the phone, I don't even really know what we're talking about. You need to be at Al Sharpton's church. I suggest you get to Al Sharpton's church right after you get on a treadmill. Caller from area code 803. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Peace and greetings, brother authority. This is Silent D calling out of Atlanta, Georgia, via Columbia, South Carolina originally.
All right, Silent D, Atlanta, what's on your mind?
All right, so let me just go ahead and bring some sense back in since I don't know what Tina was on, and I'm calling from
she's on
my
meth.
cordless phone this time. But
she's on. What she's on is on meth. But go ahead.
Anyways, keeping it on tonight's topic, it's very amazing, like how far that the old media will just try to keep things the way they are, but they know good and well that their time is up, and they're just going to have to move out of the way. They cannot keep bringing in everybody else and our problem, and then also going to have the nerve. I'm sorry, I just can't get my words out because it was just so disgusting having to hear Al Sharpton and Scamala Harris, out of all folk, especially calling her black and Asian. Oh, now she's black and Asian? As far as I remember correctly, and I'm sure all of us do, she's never been black at all. So I don't know.
She's black when convenient. When she decided she wanted to run for president, she became black then. Wait a minute, I got some black in me now. She's black when convenient. So what this is showing you, understand, isn't this amazing that the older generation, they are more compromising and acquiescent than the young are? Think about that for a few moments. These old niggas are more slave-minded, submissive, and acquiescent than the young are. The young people are not this damn compromised. The young people are not this buck broken and compromised. So what this really illustrates for us is when they talk about we were fighting for civil rights, we now see what the civil right was. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get a caller from area code 907. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason. It's Lorenzo from Anchorage, Alaska. How you doing?
Lorenzo from Anchorage. What's on your mind?
Man, they don't even know what the civil rights fight meant. I keep thinking that Kamala had an earpiece and was receiving instructions. They don't understand, and they were reaching I listened to them really carefully, and they were reaching for something to say that was totally irrelevant. The issues that happen in Texas and Buffalo, they're two different things. And the fact that they did that just really pisses me off. And I just wanted to thank you for bringing that to the light. That's all, Jason. Be one.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me get caller from area code 863. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yes, my name is Doris, and I'm calling from Lakeland, Florida.
Doris from Lakeland, what's on your mind?
Yes, Jason.
Take your phone off of Miss Doris. Take your phone off of speaker, ma'am. I know y'all just got back from Bible study, but take your phone off of speaker, ma'am.
Okay, I rarely don't speak on the speaker, but it's off. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we hear
what I was
you better.
calling for is Stacy. It's about Al Sharpton. I'm so disgusted with him. I have not agreed with this man. He was Al Sharpton in helping the black community. The last time I realized was back when he was with Gina 6. I saw him, my sister and I, we went to Gina 6. That's the last time I saw the real Al Sharpton. He has been a sellout. It's appalling to me that this man and the black politicians, how cowardly they are. I'm listening to Stacey Abrams on The Trap, and she's talking about black people are 13%, and if you try to please everybody, somebody is going to get offended. And I'm like, what the fuck? Who cares? It lets me know that.
Think about this for a few moments. Whenever a politician tries to sit up here and tell black people, well, black folk are only 14% of the population, and politicians be afraid of this, that, and the other. Gays are only 2% of the population. And she has been fearless advocating for them. And they're only 2% of the population. And the rest of the country don't really rock with them like that. But they've been fearless about that. Asians are 7% of the population. And she's been fearless for that 7%. Jewish people are about the same segment of the population. They're absolutely fearless about that. Arabs and the whole 9 yards, they're all about 5 or 6% of the population, and they're fearless. So you can't say the issue you can't say that that's an excuse. Well, your numbers are the reason why folk kind of leery. No, that's not an excuse for any damn body else. So say what it is. We're the only legitimate threat to white supremacy, and white supremacy got their hooks in your great big ham hocks built ass, and they brought you to us as the damn mascot. And that's the whole reason why we can say as soon as you start talking crazy to us like that, it's time for us to go ahead and ask the waiter for the check, please.
Exactly. With Al Sharpton and Kamala, she is pissed with him. She giving him a phone call. She gave him a phone call before she got in the car. And that's what he should have did, but she should have turned around and called his ass out too. I guess Martin Luther King and the rest of the real black rebels are turning over in their grave over this bullshit right here. I can't believe he walked with Martin Luther King. I can't believe that. I'm like, when you lost the weight, everything went with it.
What that tells you is
when he lost the weight.
Dr. King had a bunch of these flunkies, groupies, opportunists, and so long as he was in the lead, at least he could make these niggas useful. They were opportunists. They were glad handing. They were ambitious, but they were really opportunists is what they were. Okay, but you can use that. If you got the right person in charge, at least you can direct him. It's like, okay, this guy over here, he's shady, but I can put him to use. As long as he's not in charge of anything, he can't really do any damage. So at least I can take that little groupie opportunist energy and direct it somewhere useful. As soon as Dr. King was killed, here come all them flunkies who were sitting behind him. Abernathy and Young and Sharpton, here they all come, and next thing you know, they're showing exactly why it was he wanted them playing the backfield the whole time. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get call America code 559. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Martin from Fresno.
Okay, folks, you sound like you're fighting with your phone. I hope you win. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Name is Martin, calling from Fresno.
Martin from Fresno. What's on your mind?
Trying to figure out when the politicians, and they get up here and they always use this rhetoric that we should all just come together. Black folks have never been in a situation where we've been as a group attacking another group specifically in an unjust way. So just trying to figure out when they use that, why are people really actually allowing them to get away with that?
Well, I mean, the corporate media is the one who toes the line anyway. So between the corporate media, which is really just an extension of the government, or vice versa, depending on how you see it there. I mean, that is the company line. Right. So we are the first time that's ever actually been pushed back against. Now, everybody knows this, but what you haven't had is this national and international megaphone that has amplified that. Or at least has let everybody know, hey, you're not some fringe element off by yourself. In reality, yeah, most of the rest of the population, we feel the same way and suspect the same thing. So this is about the media steering your attention. This is about the corporate media making you think that you're crazy, that everybody else feels differently, and that there's just something about this that you don't get, that you're an outlier. Because the power of making you feel like you're an outlier is that at the very least, it's far less likely that you will talk. It's far more likely that you'll get quiet. So at the very least, at least you don't feel brave enough to say something because you're like, well, I'm one of the few folks who actually sees it. There might be one other out there in Anchorage, Alaska somewhere, but I'm the only one who gets it. No, brother, it's a whole bunch of folk who get it. The majority gets it. These folks' game is to make you feel like you're the only one who sees it and everybody else is on something else. No, they're not. No, they're not.
Undermining us.
If I can psychologically intimidate you simply by making you feel like you're on the outside looking in and that you don't represent what the popular consciousness thinks, right there, I got you. Okay. I got you right there. I've intimidated you into powerlessness and silence right there, just making you think you're the only one who sees it. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller from area code 832. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Caller from 832 is driving through the tunnel. Caller from area code 225, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
It's Jay from Baton Rouge by way of Woodville, Mississippi. Jay's been saying we 14% of the population for the last 25 or 30 years. We're probably more like 18% of the population. And the black politician always, black and brown. I took time out for the last 3 days to watch Latino TV, put on closed caption, to put in English version. They never once say black, never once with the interviews with the local officials or the parents or the Latino politicians. Never use black and brown. Only the black politicians want to incorporate everyone with us. And no one knows, no member of the CBC, because they don't do nothing for us. If you knew them, that means they was working for us. But it's a sad day in Black America. I love you with the work you've done, and keep us abreast, brother.
Well, let me address a couple of things you said there. First of all, the government has a very vested interest in counting these numbers as accurately as they can. They can't track the white population so that they can warn them about how things are going for them if they don't have an accurate count. So having an accurate count is actually very important. If you're going to say that the number is different from 14%, I'm ready to rock with that, but you're going to have to show me your empirical evidence that you have a reliable measurement that shows something to the contrary. So if you've got something that is of more reliability than the government's ability to hire hundreds and thousands of people to count the census, I'd like to see it. However, even if you were correct that we've been undercounted either marginally, which is 18% would be marginally, or grossly undercounted, here's the problem. It doesn't matter whether we're 14% of the population or 40% of the population, we're 1% of the power. So if we are a much larger percent of the population, it has not translated into socioeconomic or political power for us. So at this point right now, we might as well be 2% of the population based on how we're moving. And based on the way we're moving, right, we might as well be 2% no matter what you think that number is. Remember, in South Africa, you can be 90% of the population and be subjugated. So there's the thing we need to keep our eye on. It's not so much about focusing on, well, they're deliberately undercounting us, and if we could just get them to acknowledge this higher number, then it would change everything. It wouldn't matter if they were in error about the number or deliberately misstating the number. Our socioeconomic might would be the only thing that matters. So I submit to you that we're getting the results that we're getting, which would be in line with what we're taking a look at. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me get a call from area code 954. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello?
Okay.
Hello?
You heard
Hello?
We said you were on live. Put the pipe down.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Is this Tina again?
Yeah, I was actually just giving you a call to apologize. I actually shouldn't have just jumped in the conversation like that without listening.
Well, Tina, when you got the Hennessy, awesome. When you got the Hennessy and the E&J, I know it does that, baby. Sleep it off, sober up, call us back next week.
No, actually, no. I just came.
Okay, sleep it off, get sober, call us back next week, Tina. Tonight's not your night. Tonight's not your night. She's drunk. You know how it is with drunk folk. When people get drunk, they do two things. They get on the phone or get behind the wheel. They get two things, on the phone or behind the wheel. So, baby, go sleep it off. This is not your night. Caller from area code 442. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Okay, caller from 442 is not paying attention here. Caller from 754, I accidentally dropped your call. Give us a call back. Let me get caller from area code 346. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, this is Jason. Reginald calling from Houston, Texas.
Reginald from Houston, what's on your mind?
What's on my mind is that, when Al came to Ferguson, and those youngsters ran him off.
Okay, brother, I don't know if you got the phone cocked up on your double chin or something there, but you're really, really muffled. So if you're in those earbuds or if you got the phone, if you're sitting on the phone, you might want to get off of it. You're really muffled.
No, I said that I wish that the youngsters, whoever, when these politicians come to these churches, I just wish that they would run Al off, run Kamala Harris off, and let them know, man, that they do not represent the people. And we're not going to let you use this as a way for you to get some type of street credibility. That's all I really had to say. I'm just really getting sick of people like Al Sharpton showing up to these things like this here. When people get killed all the time, they never show up. Just when something hits the airwaves and gets real popular, here they come. And I'm just sick of them people, man. I just wish that people would run them off and say, hey, we don't need you. Just do that, man. I will be so happy.
Well, like I said, you saw Kamala sat up there and spoke for about 2 minutes and then ran off the stage. So you would have thought somebody was after her. So she knows. They know they're not popular. Caller from area code 310. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on? This is Jeff from L.A.
Jeff from L.A., what's on your mind?
Am I on? Yeah, hi, Jason. I appreciate all the work you do. I wanted to get your opinion about, I've heard you say that what we need as a community is like an elite class to kind of guide the way. But if you look at people like the stronghold that people like Clyburn have on black folks and, the stronghold that the religious institutions, i.e. Christianity, or just the church in general, has on black people, realistically, at least in the past, when you looked at like folks from the civil rights movement, they had the knowledge and the critical thinking to separate the two. Folks like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, there was a place, we understood our position and we knew how to combat white supremacy, But today, I work in the adjunct arena, as an instructor, and, it's really heartbreaking to see how far behind we are in just understanding the basics, and your audience not included.
I would tell you that things are a little bit different because this is a marathon, not a sprint. Let's be very clear.
Okay.
This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. A decade ago, when we were beating these streets and whatnot, remember folks had their lips around Barack Obama's rump, super heavy.
Right.
And now he's a pariah. He can't get anybody in office. Kamala Harris thought she was going to be the second coming of Barack Obama and got slam dunked. So the conversation back then was about politics and integration. Today, the conversation is totally different now. Folks are talking about reparations. They're talking about black empowerment. They're talking about defunding police. It is a totally different conversation. So like I'm saying, what they're noticing is, notice how things happen. It's like having a pack of dogs. I'm going to say it like it is. And up until now, they've been your lap dogs and you're walking them down the street and everything is gravy. And then next thing you know, they break off the leash. Now, ordinarily, what would happen is they might run around for a minute, then they come back to you. What they're noticing now is they're running around and they're turning on you. For one of them is turned on you. And what you're worried about is if one turns on you, then all the others are going to turn on you too. So what they're noticing is that they're trying to keep this critical mass from getting off. They're trying to keep this critical mass from getting away from them. And our job is to make sure that happens. But let's be very, very clear. Up until this point, it's never been a majority of black people to begin with. Since Harriet Tubman, yeah, black folk in the plantation. Harriet Tubman, if she was sitting here right now on the microphone, she would tell you, oh, the majority of black folk in the plantations, no, I couldn't convince them that they were slaves. I told them we need to leave. I'm doing good like I am. You know, so it's never been a majority of us. We got to get that out of our head that we represent this super majority, that most black folk get it. Freedom is new to the psyche of most black people. Power is new to the psyche of most black people. Self-determination is new. They are so accustomed to white people defining their existence down to the very second of their lives that what we're talking about is a foreign language to them. Mentally, emotionally, physically, economically. This is a foreign language to most black folk, or is a language that they're afraid to speak. So what I want you to say is, don't be disheartened by it. We've seen the change coming. We've seen it. If you want to have proof positive of that, take a look at our numbers on YouTube and then go take a look at Joy Reid's. Go take a look at Simone Sanders. Go and take a look at some of these other folk who got multi-billion-dollar international telecommunications conglomerates behind them. And we spank them like a bad 3-year-old. We spank them. There's your proof right there. But don't expect MSNBC to pull up a damn sign that says we're losing. They're never going to do that. You have to take a look at the evidence in front of you and see where the national conversation is going. But that's what I'm saying. Don't let them fool you into believing that they're so much more powerful than they really are. So are we in a position here to call shots just yet? No, we're not. I mean, we're not definitively calling shots just yet. No, we're not. However, we're getting there. And it's our job to understand and recognize when we're getting in that position. I make it analogous to the 1989, the year of the rapper. So, I mean, at that point right there, the East Coast really blows up, West Coast really blows up, NWA, everything else. Rap music starts becoming this force, but for the most part, your favorite rappers were still, for the most part, underground. There was no corporate backing. If we're waiting for the corporations to sign off on us, then you're never going to know how powerful you really are. If you're waiting for them to sign off on you, you got to recognize how strong you are. You got to take a look at the numbers of people showing up for you. You have to take a look at the numbers that you're putting up and document that yourself. Your competition is never going to become your cheerleader, brother. Never going to do that. Thank you very much for giving us a call. They'll just sit in the background and then one day they will explode in a bunch of hater diatribe and be, next thing you know, they're flagging your YouTube channel. Looking at you, Roland Roast Ham Martin. Call from area code 305. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
TBA, what they do, man. It's your boy One Love out of Miami, calling from Alabama, man.
One Love out of Miami. What's on your mind, brother?
Man, I tried the last week and a half, not to even, call just to let you speak, man. But you already know, just like you said, they got the answer to stop all this. They don't want it. You've been trying to tell the callers for the last 10 days, they don't want to stop it. There's ways to stop it. They don't want to. And we as a people, man, we got to understand that. Like you've been saying, we all we got. I just want to finish, let's just air quotations. I got a close associate who has a technology specifically for this. And the government will say, well, we know there's a need for it. We just have to see if it's a want. So they'll say, oh, let's all come together. Let's do this. But if they were to ban certain firearms or firearms, period. Like you say, they have to do the mass incarceration. But if they were to ban the firearms, all they're going to do is every black person that they already got incarcerated, they just going to start, executing them. It's still going to be the same thing. We got to understand that we can't, just like, I'm basically paraphrasing the stuff you've been saying just recently, because this Buffalo wasn't the first time. Columbine wasn't the first time. We cannot depend on this government, just like the white people don't depend on this government. We have to depend and defend ourselves and stop looking for somebody else to help us. Nobody gonna help you paint your house if you gonna leave when they come to help you paint your house. All you have. You have to be the first line of defense, and before you ask for any help. You know what I mean?
It's on you and me and us and we. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight, brother. Let me get caller area code 559. You're on live with the Black Channel. Wake up. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yes, this is Linda. I'm calling from Denver, California.
Okay, Linda's on her Obama phone here. Hopefully we can get through this call. What's on your mind, Linda?
Joe Biden has just recently put forth some kind of legislation or something for guns and police reform, as he says it calls it police reform. But it's only at the federal level. I'm wondering if I could get your take on that, because it has nothing to do with state, county, or city, which leaves the police to do their own thing at that level.
Well, certainly here, they could try something like that. I don't foresee that occurring. Even if it did, it doesn't bother me. And the reason why it doesn't bother me is, understand something. Black folk don't need guns like that. As I explained last night, black folk only started tooling up when the white supremacists were allowed to run wild. That's when black folks said, okay, we better equalize this situation. But we're going to be good no matter which way it goes. You see, ever since Zimmerman, you've seen this steady increase in black folks saying, okay, this is going to start, they're out here killing black children, and juries are signing off on it. Across the country, juries are signing off on it. So black folk had to make a survival decision. Either we're going to sit here and get slaughtered, or we're going to do something. Now, you still have something to forgive, and well, Lord and glory, I want to make sure Jesus will approve of me, so I ain't going to defend myself. And then you got the rest of us. Yeah. So they saw that it's too many of them ain't going along. Now, that one made the corporate media. When we start getting together and saying, yeah, you know what, it's going to start being a two-way shootout from here on in. All of a sudden, the conversation starts to change. All of a sudden, the states start talking about concealed carry isn't enough anymore. Stand your ground is not enough anymore. We just need to make it about anybody can carry a gun anywhere. That's fear. That's sheer terror and panic at work when you hear that kind of thing. What are they telling you? They're telling you, oh, black folk don't need the guns. We do. We need them. We can't keep this system. We can't subjugate people. We cannot execute injustice without the gun. That's our primary tool. We strangle the economy, and to keep folk from rising up in mass or to be able to execute injustice on a daily basis, you got to have the guns for it. Now the black folk are like, yeah, I think I'll give me some of that action. Okay, we got to change things now. So it wouldn't bother me one way or the other. Because here's my thing. As long as everything is equal, I'm fine. If we cannot all have equal justice, then we should all have equal injustice. And if we are not all going to be equally protected, then we're all going to be equally vulnerable, is what we're going to be. All I'm saying is, this scale, this seesaw and this scale is going to be balanced one damn way or another. So, hey, I would love to have a society where everybody goes about their business and whatnot. But when you've got sheriffs and police chiefs and juries sitting up here saying, well, we got this unspoken rule that we can kill you all at will. It's like, well, we got a whole different thought coming for you. So I want you to be of that mindset. Right now, the way things are, I have to advise every black person, regardless of their status, to make sure that they have the ability to protect themselves. If and when the law changes, now 2 parameters here. 2 parameters. The law, if the law changes, and if the law is equally exercised, those are the 2 parameters. You can't just change the law and say, okay, but in practice, you ain't got no rights. No, if you change the law and then you equally exercise it on everybody, then at that point, I would tell black folk, okay, we can start making some changes. But unless those 2 things coincide, because you see, we're supposed to have equal protection of the law now. And because we're not getting equal protection of the law, that's when I'm like, okay, tool up. We're not getting equal protection. If we were, we wouldn't have to tool up. But since we're not getting equal protection, tool up. If that ever changes where those 2 actually get in sync with each other, well, then my position on that will change. But until then, tools up, white supremacists down. Thank you very much for giving us a call. If we cannot all be equally comfortable, then we will all be equally uncomfortable. But this idea that everybody else is going to be comfortable and living lavish at our expense, and we're going to be out here getting picked off like flies, no. We'll all either be equally comfortable or we'll all be equally miserable. I'm cool with it either way, actually. How about you? Caller from area code 513, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Mike. I'm calling from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Mike from Cincinnati, what's on your mind?
The thing about it is, I think people need to wisen up, because I look at it, racism only understands 2 things, violence or finance. If we got together and wouldn't spend $1 for 1 or 2 days, it would cripple this economy.
No, sir.
And then we'll be in
Folks, no, that would not happen. That would not happen. Black people are 1/2 of 1% of the economy. They literally would not miss it. So
you don't think so?
It's not a matter of think, sir. Several points of the economy got wiped out when COVID came through. Black people are 1/2 of 1%. So no. That if you want, not spending with them isn't the important thing. Spending with your money needs to move. Economies happen because money moves. So it's not about taking money from them. It is about recognizing the value of putting the money where it belongs. So it's a non-issue and a non-starter to say, well, if we take it from them, they'll notice. No, they will not. If we spend it with each other, guess what? We would notice. Now, us taking our money away from Walmart and Target, they would never notice it. As a matter of fact, they'd be perfectly happy with it. Remember, segregation was all about, they had to use the Commerce Clause of the Constitution to get desegregation through. White folk have never needed our money and don't need it now. That's a lie black folk tell themselves. Immigrants do very good getting themselves the pump prime for their economy when they get off the boat here. But let's stop with the nonsense. They don't need our money. It's cute. It's nice. We are 1/2 of 1% of the economy. They wouldn't miss it if it blinked out tomorrow. However, other black people, now they would notice it if our spending habits changed. If the money we spend with Asians and white folk and stuff, if we actually started circulating that amongst each other, the white businesses wouldn't notice it, but we would damn sure notice it. Thank you very much for giving us a call. No, these white corporations and Asian, they would never notice if you didn't show it tomorrow. That's a lie black folk tell themselves. Black people are very good for being able to make a lot of noise, but as far as the actual impact of it, not so much. But with those white corporations would never notice it if you disappeared. But the black businesses, wherever you are, they would notice it. They would be like, oh, I noticed a big damn difference. We noticed a big damn difference in our coffers. Our bank accounts noticed a big difference. Remember when black folks started banking black and whatnot, the black banks couldn't keep up. They noticed a big damn difference. The white banks didn't even say anything. They're like, okay, take your nigga dollars, we cool. The black banks were like, oh, we noticed a big difference. Yeah, that made a big difference at our dinner tables. That makes a big difference at our dinner tables. When you talk about places like Sylvia's and Sweetie Pies and whatnot, yeah, that when black folks spend money with black people, that makes a big difference in our dinner tables. That makes a big difference in our bank accounts. That's where you really feel the impact. Caller from area code 832, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
I'm calling from Houston, Texas.
Okay. Caller, you are on I'm telling folk here you're on speaker or earbuds. You need to take those off, people.
You there?
Okay. He's calling us from inside the microwave, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here. I want you all to be aware here. They're going to try to steer the conversation in a different direction. We are here, but we are here with an agenda, and the agenda is, what do you do after Buffalo? After Buffalo, what's the agenda? What do you do? What do you make happen? And that's why we got to be on everything moving from here on in has to be legislation, or we got to take care of it for ourselves. Simple as that. It's either going to be legislation or we got to take care of it for ourselves. Ain't no other way. Ain't no other way. That's it. Now, I want you to see the politicians are not speaking to our issues. They're completely ignoring it. But that's okay because we're not ignoring it. We have to make sure that we don't ignore our issues. So I want to discuss with you how the media tries to steer the attention. It's our job to make sure we stay focused like a laser beam. And that's what we're doing. I want to thank you all for joining us here tonight, Mr. Sasser and everybody else who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal or Cash App. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend, over 141,000 subscribers and rising. We are not a little thing. We are the Black media. So hit that red subscribe button, click that yellow notification bell, join us each and every weekend. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, you want to go there and check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work. 7 a.m., Gentrified, Race War, all available on DVD, on streaming, and on Amazon. Go to blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. I want to thank you all for joining us here tonight, and this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority, and until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.